That is the way to go, given how prohibitively expensive fossil fuels have become. Today, if you were to refuel your vehicle in any of the metros in India, you would think you were being looted. Petrol prices have been soaring for 16 straight days in this country, and it's incredible because global crude prices are falling. Let me give you the numbers first. Petrol costs 86 rupees 24 paise a litre in India's financial capital, Mumbai. That's $1.3 a litre. No wonder the biggest priority for most Indians buying cars is the mileage of the car, the number of miles to a litre. Petrol has crossed the 81 rupee mark in Kolkata and Chennai. It's shy of the 80 rupee mark in Bengaluru. Diesel is no different. It's selling between 67 and 74 Indian rupees in Tier 1 cities. So what is the government of India doing? Not nothing. It is taking steps to mitigate the crisis, but it hasn't brought any relief to the consumers, so frankly, it really doesn't matter. Last week, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the government is not interested in temporary measures. It's taking a long-term view, he says. Now, we have spoken and discussed and explained at length how taxes on petrol and diesel in India are extraordinarily high, the highest in South Asia, among the highest in the world. So I'm going to state the obvious. The government can start with cutting taxes, but it won't. Because the government says tax on fuel is used for development schemes. So you choose, do you want a good road or cheap fuel to drive your car on a bad road? In most cases, unfortunately, you get neither, and that is the state of affairs in India. This country is not the only victim, though, of high fuel prices. Cut to Brazil, hundreds of truckers are out on the streets in protest. They have been on strike for 9 days now. It's a strike that has crippled Brazil's economy. Late Monday night, President Michel Temer offered to cut the price of diesel by about 12% and bear the burden.
The first request of truckers, the price of diesel was reduced to 0.46 cents per litre. For 60 days, the price will not change, and after that, it means 2 months from now, the adjustment will be every month. The government is assuming sacrifice in the budget and will cut the differences without affecting petrol bars.
But for the protesting truckers, it was too little too late. They rejected this offer, leaving cities in the country without fuel at petrol stations. The fallout, a growing shortage of essential goods from fresh fruit and vegetables to medicine. Across Brazil, factories have been forced to shut down. In Sao Paulo, only a third of buses were running. Queues at petrol stations continued. Schools and universities suspended classes. 8 airports had to suspend operations due to shortage of fuel. That is what's happening in Brazil. The question then is this: if crude prices are falling in the international market, why are they rising in India? Are oil companies pocketing all the profit by bleeding consumers? Will the relief be extended to people? How are other countries dealing with this volatility? Take a look.
Surging oil prices are burning a hole in the Indian consumer's pocket. Petrol and diesel prices continue to climb every day. The prices of both fuels are now at an all-time high across India's major metros. But the rally seen in global oil prices has now come to a halt. This was one of the major reasons behind the spike in oil prices in India. After touching a high of $80 a barrel, the price of Brent crude dropped by $5. Experts anticipate that crude could drop below $70 a barrel in the coming weeks. So why has the bull run of the oil market suddenly stopped? Saudi Arabia and Russia, two of the world's leading suppliers of oil, had earlier capped their output. Both countries are now looking to pump up their supply in the near future. It's not just India that is bearing the brunt of high petrol and diesel prices. Brazil's truck drivers blocked roads to protest against high diesel prices. The protest brought Latin America's largest economy to a halt, forcing the country's president to slash diesel prices.
Agora, acertamos que será por 60 dias, sem modificação no preço. E a partir daí, ou seja, daqui a 2 meses, só haverá reajustes mensais.
Thailand has its own strategy to combat rising oil prices. The country's government has set up a $900 million state oil fund to help consumers cope with rising global oil prices. Thailand's oil minister says that the fund can absorb an increase of up to 50% in retail prices. India imports more than 80% of its annual crude oil requirement. Fuel prices in India are determined by global crude oil rates and the position of the rupee against the dollar, and India has been hit hard on both counts. A drop in global oil prices is welcome news for Indian consumers. Now the decision to cut prices is in the hands of Indian companies. Bureau Report, WION.